Oh, cool.
All right, great.
Mic check, test, test. Mic check, test.
Let me get white balance while you're up there too.
Make sure we're getting the non-shiny side, please.
I'll leave the light on that way.
Is this the non-shiny side? You can kind of feel the difference.
Everyone good? Good. Anyone need one more time? Okay.
I'm going to bring everybody in, okay?
Okay.
Good to go?
We are breaking into programming right now because of this press conference from the Franklin County Sheriff's Office that is just about to begin. I'm Angela Ann. This is regarding the two Mifflin Township police officers who were shot last night. You can see the sheriff there with other members of the Sheriff's Office.
And
Let's
thank you for
listen
joining
in.
us today for the news conference. We're holding this conference to update status of the shooting last night of the two Mifflin Township officers. First, I'd like to thank you for covering the story. Thank the community. We've had an outpouring of support. Really like to express my thanks to them. We've had people from as high as the Attorney General, Dave Yost, has called, expressed his concern and support, numerous chiefs and numerous other agency officials. And to all of you, I want to say thank you. The suspect, Devontae Dixon, is still out, and we do need the community support. So if you're listening and you know where this person is, please pick up the phone and give us a call. He is still out. He's still a danger to everybody, to the public and to law enforcement. You'll see today join with us, I have several people with me. I have Mifflin Township Trustee Kevin Kavner. I have Mifflin Township Chief of Police David Briggs. I have FOP President Brian Steele, and I have my Investigations Chief Rick Minard. I'm going to have each of them come up and speak, but I would ask you at the end of their presentation, they'll introduce the next speaker. Hold your questions to the very end. If you have questions, then at the very end of the presentation, we can address those. At the very end of this, when you get to Chief Minard, he's going to play some videos that are being released and show you what happened last night in the brutal attack of these two officers. So with that, I'd like to introduce the Township Trustee, Kevin Kavner.
Hi, everybody. Mifflin Township Board of Trustees, the Mifflin Township Police Department, want to issue the following statement regarding the shooting of our officers yesterday evening on May 28th. We are deeply saddened in the wake of the shooting, and out of respect for the officers and their families, we are not releasing any personal information at this time. We want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the first responders, police, fire, EMS, for the quick response to the scene, getting our officers to the hospital, and for their support last evening. We want to ensure the citizens of the unincorporated area of Mifflin Township that they will be protected by the Franklin County Sheriff's Department. We want to thank Sheriff Baldwin for assisting us in that. And we also want to just thank you for your thoughts and prayers while we navigate through this time. And I want to introduce our Chief of Police, David Briggs.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. Last night, 2 of our officers were shot and injured in the line of duty while courageously performing their duties to protect and serve our community. I want to begin by saying our thoughts and prayers are with these officers and their families as they begin what we hope will be a full and swift recovery. Just a quick update on the officers. One of them is being discharged today. The other one went into emergency surgery early morning hours. He came out but was taken back in this morning for another surgery. We're still waiting for an update on that. To continue, I want to express my deepest gratitude to the brave men and women of the Mifflin Township Police Department and the law enforcement community who responded to this tragedy with professionalism, resolve, and courage. I want to thank the Columbus Division of Police, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, as well as the Clinton Township, Blendon Township Police Departments, Minerva Park, and Gahanna, just to name a few, all responded. I also want to give a heartfelt thank you to Mifflin Township Medic 132 and Columbus Medic 16. Their quick response and diligent efforts no doubt saved the life of my officer. So I want to thank them for that. I want to thank our state and federal agencies for their unwavering support. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is providing critical resources. We are grateful for their expertise. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office Detective Bureau is handling the investigation. They are diligently working it, and you can't ask for a better group of detectives to work a case. I want to personally thank the Fraternal Order of Police and their steadfast support of our officers, my department, and the law enforcement community as a whole. We will not rest until this individual responsible for this act is apprehended and brought to justice. We are fully committed to working with our law enforcement partners around the clock to ensure that happens. To the residents of Mifflin Township, I know this incident is unsettling, but please know your police department remains operational and committed to your safety. The Sheriff's Office has graciously agreed to place extra deputies in Mifflin Township, and Clinton Township has graciously offered to start running 2-man cars and to cover calls in Mifflin Township as well. It really is a brotherhood in the law enforcement community. Everyone has come together. We ask for your continued support, vigilance, and prayers for our officers. I'd like to introduce FOP President Brian Steele. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Brian Steele, President, Capital City Lodge 9. It's been a long night for all of us, for your elected officials, your police leaders. It's been a long night for the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, Columbus Police, Mifflin, Clinton, all the surrounding agencies. And not only did they have a long night, they're coming right back today, and they're doing it again. My priorities here are simple. I'm here to support the sheriff any way the FOP can. Trust, the confidence and trust in the sheriff is overwhelming, as well as Chief. Anything they need, we are here for them. My priorities are simple. I want to ensure that these officers recover and recover fast, and anything them and their family needs. I want to ensure that this individual is apprehended and brought to justice, and when the dust settles, the third thing we're going to do to FOP is find out why was this violent offender back on our streets. All indication is the violent offender should have been incarcerated. It's almost deja vu. This isn't the first time we've stood in front of you. It's a repeated, recidive pattern, and we have to work together to stop it. With that, I will turn it over to Chief Minard.
Thank you, President. Sheriff stated, I want to thank you guys for covering this. It's important that when these kind of things happen, that you guys give this the due diligence and the attention that it deserves. 2 officers were shot last night, doing what they were sworn to do, just doing their job. And so thank you for covering this. I want to thank the sheriff also for his continued support to me and my division as we tackle these kinds of situations. It's a tough day for Mifflin Township and their community. These officers put themselves in harm's way trying to protect the community there in Mifflin Township, and then we have things like this that happen. The officers, as stated, are still in the hospital recovering, and we're confident that they're going to get the best medical care that there is here in Central Ohio, and so we'll continue to pray for their recovery. As you guys know, last night, about 6:45, there was a traffic stop that occurred in Mifflin Township Police Department about 6:45 p.m. The initial stop involved one of the officers He was joined shortly thereafter by a second officer, and then a call went out about 6:49 p.m. of shots fired. So this thing materialized pretty quickly. What appeared to be an innocuous traffic stop quickly turned into a very violent situation, and these officers had really seconds to respond. And I mean, I can't say how brave they were in that situation and how they responded. As mentioned here, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office is leading this investigation. We have a really close working relationship with Mifflin Township, so my detectives are very familiar with Mifflin Township and their personnel and how they do business, and so I think we are the most appropriate agency to handle this. However, I responded there last night, and I don't know that I've ever seen more officers on one scene in my entire 34-year career. It was amazing. It was great that all these different agencies came together for one common goal, and that was to take care of these officers and find whoever was responsible for this. BCI is involved in this. BCI is a close friend or partner with us in terms of these investigations. They are handling the evidence, the crime scene, and so forth. And so when I get done here, you're likely to have questions about shots fired and all kinds of stuff. I'm not in a position to answer many of those, or maybe some of them I can, but some of them I won't be able to because the labs and things are not done. And so that evidence is still being analyzed by BCI, and I wouldn't want to say something that wasn't accurate. And so BCI will continue to work with us as we interview witnesses and evidence and so forth. As I mentioned, the traffic stop took place. Just to set the stage, there was one officer on scene joined by a second officer, and then quickly shots were fired. So what we're going to do is, under this request for body-worn camera and some footage of the situation out there. And so what we've done is we've extracted some segments of some of the video that we have. It's not all the video, but it's in my eyes, it's enough to show you exactly what happened out there and the danger that these officers face and how quickly this thing escalated. And so what we're going to do is we're going to play the video. I'll have a couple remarks, and then what we'll do is we'll open it up to questions, as I imagine you will. And so these are two videos of the body-worn camera. So it's the officer on the driver's side of the vehicle, who is the initial officer that conducted the stop. A body-worn camera from the other officer who approached from the passenger side. The suspect will bail out of the passenger side of the vehicle, and there'll be a short foot chase before shots ring out. There's another video where you'll see this Mr. Dixon stop and exchange gunfire. Well, not exchange gun. I'm sorry. Fire at the officers. And so we'll play the video. I'll have a couple comments about asking for the public's help, and then we'll open it up for questions that undoubtedly you will have. So with that, go ahead and play the video. Okay, and so what you just saw, the first video was the officer approached on the passenger side. He's the one that joined into the traffic stop. Shortly, as soon as he basically walks up to the passenger side, the passenger in the vehicle bails out. There's a foot chase. And then you see the shots fired there. The reason I cut it off here is it gets pretty graphic. This is an officer that shot multiple times, but he stays in the fight. The second one there, you see the officer who approached from the driver's side. Again, pretty graphic. He takes fire as well. He retreats to cover, but he's able to maintain composure, give commands as medics arrived. This guy's, he's amazing. He's deferring medical treatment away from himself and into his partner because he knows his partner is hurt worse than he is. But again, is giving commands, telling direction of travel and all kind of stuff. So 2 warriors here. And then the last one, of course, you see the guy who bails out, clearly firing at the officers, trying to kill him. And so that's why last night we made the decision to charge this guy with felonious assault and attempted murder, because that's exactly what he did. And so, once he's apprehended, this case will play itself out in court, and hopefully justice will be served on these 2 individuals. Before I take questions, we're asking for everyone in the community to stay vigilant, as the sheriff mentioned. We still got a guy that's presumably armed and dangerous. He clearly has no regard for law enforcement or anybody else in the community. So is he a risk? He absolutely is. And so be vigilant. So Mr. Dixon, we hope he turns himself in before someone else gets hurt, because we got the help of our office in Mifflin, Clinton Townships. Columbus PD was out there. Ohio BCI, the Marshal Services involved. The FBI is contacted. They're all in terms of apprehending this individual. And so, there's no rock that you're going to hide under, Mr. Dixon. We got eyes and ears out there, and so we're going to bring him to justice. And we ask the public that if you saw anything, if you've seen something, say something. You ran through neighborhoods and got away. We think there's more information still out there, so we're encouraging people to call in, help us get this bum off the street. What I also want to, before I take any questions, is I want to thank Central Ohio Crime Stoppers and also the Fraternal Order of Police that very quickly last night there's some discussion had, and together they were able to more than willing to pony up a $10,000 reward. So not only can we get a bad guy off the street, but you know what? You make a little money doing it too. So we ask people to call in. Let's get this bum off the street here. And so with that, undoubtedly you probably have questions, and so I'll open up to any questions that maybe I can answer for one of these gentlemen.
Do you believe he's still in the area?
He's got family and friends in the area. We have, I mentioned all the resources still out scouring, checking relatives, associates, girlfriends, you name it. To answer the question, it could be anywhere. The warrants have been entered nationwide, so wherever he goes, we'll go there after him. So we're not going to stop until we get him in custody. I'm confident we'll do that. We have some amazing law enforcement professionals all together, operating on the same page for the same common goals, and to get this guy off the street. So is he in the same area? I don't know. I guess we'll find out, but ask the public to please call in and give us any information. I don't care how innocuous you think it is. It may be the missing piece to the puzzle that tells us exactly where he's at, but I'm hopeful and confident in a short period of time we'll bring him into custody.
How many guns were recovered?
I'm sorry?
What was the traffic stop for? Are you saying?
Well, and so as you can imagine, these officers are injured, and so they're not really in a position to answer a lot of detailed questions, and so we wouldn't want to interview them while they're, one under sedation and the other one having medical care. And so when it's appropriate medically, we'll interview those officers. So what happens when there's a traffic stop, you radio the dispatcher and you give the code for a traffic stop, but not necessarily you indicate whatever the infraction was, and that's just common. And so it was a regular traffic stop that escalated pretty quickly. There was some contraband located in the vehicle. Was that why he ran? I don't know. I guess we'll have the option or the opportunity to interview the suspect once he's brought into custody. I don't want to get into all of it because the investigation is continuing, sorting things out from there. Again, remember I told you it's under investigation. You got BCI and all that kind of stuff. So we got work to do too.
I think he was part of the diversion program for previous offenses. Do you know if he was in touch with his probation officer? Have you guys spoken with him?
Yeah, I don't want to comment on any of that because my role is to conduct an investigation. It's not to look back in terms of what should have been done in the past. President Steele may have some comments on that. And he may have information that I don't necessarily know while I'm standing here at the podium. Ryan, you want?
I can tell you those requests have been put out today. We're asking no stone is going to be unturned to. We're going to want to find out every single person that was involved in that decision, including the prosecutor's office, because we believe they also agreed to this joint resolution to give community control. So again, and I appreciate that that's not something for the sheriff's office to talk about. They are here, saw it for the investigation. So once we have more on that, we'll definitely pass it on to you.
Driver of the vehicle is cooperating with the investigation?
I'll turn that back over to investigators.
He stayed at the scene. Yes, as much as possible. Yeah, he did not flee, so he was there, taken into custody pretty quickly. We were able to conduct interviews not only with him but other people that were in the area. So a lot of interviews were conducted. We got a lot of help out of the community last night, but I think there's more out there, and we would encourage the community to call in. Again, I don't care how small it is. Call it in, even if you think, oh, it won't help. No, call it in. Let us decide on that. And so, yeah, we've got a lot of good help so far. So, thank you.
Chief, how many guns were recovered, and do you believe he still has more guns?
It does appear as though we believe the gun that was used was recovered after the foot chase. It does not mean that he doesn't have another gun on him. And here, it's not hard to get a gun on the street. He's got a lengthy criminal record, as it's been disclosed here today. And so even although laws may prohibit him, these guns they buy them off the street, off their friends or whatever. I mean, it's just how it works. And so, yeah, I think he should be treated as armed and dangerous. It should be presumed that he has another gun. That's how this should be treated. He has another gun, and he is a danger to anybody that interacts with him.
Did that gun have a Glock switch?
I don't want to get into the particulars of that. BCI has not got a chance to analyze the gun. They'll go through the ballistics, any casings that were recovered, rounds from surgeries, all that kind of stuff to compare all that evidence to determine how many shots and all that kind of stuff. That has not been completed. And so I don't want to get too deep into all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't want to say something that turns out to not to be true later. That's all.
How did you know each other?
The driver and the passenger, I assume. They were associates. They knew each other. How long, I don't know. But they definitely knew each other. And so, again, we'll continue to vet out what that relationship was, and if there's a relationship after today. While some people were cooperative today, they may not be later, and we'll have to deal with that when the time comes.
At this point, do you believe anyone is helping him? And if so, what would you say to anyone who might be helping him stay on the loose?
I would just be surmising, but yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Yeah, I don't think he evaded, a couple hundred officers out there last night by himself. I think he had some help, and again, we'll investigate that. And if later determined that it's appropriate to charge people who aided his escape or the obstruction to his capture, we'll absolutely be looking to charge people. We're looking for people to turn this guy in because he's a danger, not help him get away.
Chief Briggs, this isn't the first time you guys have had an officer injured. What has this been for your small department?
It's detrimental. I mean, we are a small department. We're already understaffed. Losing 2 officers takes out 40% of my officers. I have to lean heavily on the sheriff's office. I have been for the last several months, covering gaps in service, not being able to backfill vacations. And now these 2 officers are going to be off for quite some time. Hopefully they can return when they heal. So it's definitely hard. We do have the support of, like I said, the surrounding agencies, the Sheriff's Office, the Clinton Township Police Department, Minerva Park, Linden Township. They all come down to assist. We'll just take it day by day, and we'll provide the services we can with what we have.
But not just from a staffing level, emotionally, mentally, how are you and your officers doing?
It's a small department, so, our building, if you've ever been by it, it's not very big. My office sits right in the middle of all the officers' desks, and my door is always open. We're like a family. I'm kind of like Dad, It's a love-hate relationship. I have to yell at him and discipline him sometimes, but, most of the time, it's family. We eat lunch together. We know each other's families. We know each other's, children, wives. So when something like this happens, it is personal because we are a family. We're not an agency of 1,200 people where you don't know this person or that person. We have 5 full-time officers right now. So we all know each other, pretty intimately. The hardest thing I've ever did was call their families. I know them. I know them personally on a personal level. And to call those families is absolutely heartbreaking, especially for something that should have never have happened.
Going back to the driver, as far as looking into him for anything that we may know, is that done? Is he closed out as a person of interest, or are you still talking to him?
Investigation is continuing, and I can tell you at this moment he has not been charged with anything. But the investigation continues. That could change, so I don't want to give you a decisive answer today. Right now he's not charged with anything. So.
Chief, this is for Chief Briggs. We're hearing word that one of the officers involved was the same officer involved in a stabbing that took place in 2024. Is that something you can confirm?
This time I would leave that question to the Sheriff's Office and their Detective Bureau.
I'll be honest, it may or may not be true. Again, my division, my folks, some of them are in the room here, aren't really focused. There'll be a time and a place for that. But right now we're focused on this investigation and bringing Dixon into custody. And so, yeah, when this is all over with and he's behind bars where he belongs, then yeah, I guess we could talk about that.
You may have answered this already. Where was he last seen? What can you say? What I know it was on the northeast side near Agler and Purdue, but is there any other area that we don't know about?
He's fled on foot through houses. Let's say it was eastbound from there, I think it was. From where the site of the shooting was, which was a short, 20-yard foot chase there. He's familiar with the area, so he would know where to hide and folks that he knows in the area that he could go to. And as you mentioned earlier, yeah, I think he had help, but we'll figure that out.
Have you gotten any credible tips, sightings of him today?
That I can't answer. I wish I could. I can tell you that I know this. We guys were out of gas, and so about 3 o'clock or so, I made the difficult decision to send them home. They didn't want to go home. They would have worked all night, and then today 7 o'clock. I get in the office, and these guys are already writing search warrants and gotten game plans and all kinds of stuff. So they're not going to stop. And I guess the best thing as administrators, don't try to stop them. Let them go do what they do. So
You guys spoke about the large response to this shooting, and we know it happened just hours after the funeral procession for Sheriff's Deputy up in Morrow County. Can you speak to the law enforcement's response to this, especially after we saw a death of one of our own through a shooting?
I think these two guys right here would love to answer that question as well. Again, as I mentioned, when I pulled up last night, there was a sea of officers. And while when I first pull up, you might notice the different colors of the uniforms, but once the work started, there were no colors of uniforms. I mean, people were working together that didn't even exchange a business card yet, didn't say hello to one another. They're like, let's go. We got a house over here to check. And they didn't care. They just went, and it was a sight to see. I was really proud. I'm sure Sheriff and Brian would like to comment on that.
Yeah, it's a great question. And coming on the heels of the deputy in Morrow County being killed just 2 days prior, yeah, it's on everybody's mind in law enforcement. I've been at very many shooting scenes in my career involving law enforcement, and even though it weighs heavily on your mind, that's a typical response. When law enforcement comes under attack and they're brutally attacked and shot, even murdered, now we're all going to come. It's more on your mind, but that doesn't mean that it was a bigger increase of people coming. They want to come and help. And there were 2 Columbus officers hurt last night trying to get there to help, and they got involved in an accident. Just trying to help. Thank God it seems like they're okay, so to speak. But no, I mean, it's a difficult time because having that murder occurred in Morrow County, everyone's cautious, and now this happens, and today it's really on your mind. But we do our jobs. They are professionals. We know that occurs, unfortunately. They'll continue to do their jobs, and the responses that will be appropriate. Brian, did you want to comment? Chief.
Everyone's talking about the number of officers that responded to the scene, and that is true. There were well over a couple hundred officers there, but what nobody's talked about is the number of officers that showed up at the hospital. There were, from several counties. I saw Newark Police Department there. I saw the prosecutor from Muskingum County there. I saw the FOP president from the Zane Lodge number 5 was there. There were 150 officers there. The sheriff's office and the Columbus Police Department, they put a guard on both officers. They had 2 officers outside their rooms at all times. They had several officers downstairs in the lobby, outside the emergency room, everywhere to escort family and friends to where they needed to go. It was overwhelming support. I am greatly appreciative of it. I know the family was greatly appreciative of it. The FOP was there. Several members of the Cap City Lodge were there to help with everything and guide things. This is my first time having a critical incident such as this nature, and I had to lean on a lot of people to figure out exactly what to do. Chief Jones at Clinton Township, Mr. Steele, the sheriff was there. Attorney General Yost showed up, offered his support. It was truly a blessing to have all those people there to assist us.
I'll just piggyback off that. Also, the community. There was overwhelming response from the community. When I came to the office this morning, the phone calls, the emails from members of the community just saying, hey, is your officer okay? Anything we could do for him? As members of the FOP, we not only advocate for our officers, we advocate for the community they serve. A video I saw today, a video of the officers getting involved in a crash, the CPD officers trying to respond. Individuals flocked to them and helped get them out of the car. There was a security guard that removed one of the officers out of the car. And remember, when they got an accident, they fell to the ground. You ever get in a bad accident? It'll about knock you silly. Thank God they're okay. But the important part is the community responded. They went to treat the officers, and we're going to find the security guard, and we want to honor him and thank him for being such a good citizen and help our officers. We live in a time where we see too much on TV and officers injured and someone's holding a camera. It's so refreshing to see in our community in the North Linden, Clinton, Mifflin Township area that they're not doing that. They're going to go render aid to the officers, and I applaud them.
Still a quick question.
Yes.
Regarding the accident, the people that the officers hit by accident, how are they? Is there any word on them?
Yeah, they were not. They were treated and released at scene.
Were they wearing any protective gear? Was any bullets shot through bulletproof vests or anything? Can you touch on injuries?
Both officers were wearing vests. How many shots and all that kind of stuff, again, I don't want to comment on that. And again, injuries, what looks to be multiple gunshots sometimes can be entrance and exit wounds and things like that. But yeah, I mean, they were, you saw in the video here, they were clearly marked, and there was no mistake who they were and what they were trying to do there. And so the officers, from my vantage point, did exactly what they should have did. I mean, those guys are two warriors, you know. Unfortunately, Dixon saw it differently and decided to fire on them. So, but again, our prayers are with them to make a recovery.
Back to the beginning for a second. When the first officer gets there, did he have any interaction with the individuals in the car, or was that not until the second officer?
I'm sorry, the question again? I'm sorry.
So the first officer gets to does the traffic stop.
Yep.
Did they have any interaction with the people in the car, or was that
He did.
not until the...
No, he did. he had made contact there. A second officer arrived, and when the second officer approached the passenger side, that's when the passenger jumped out of the car. You see his hat fall off, and he leads a foot chase. The officer's pursuing him when the Dixon falls down briefly and then comes up, just guns blazing. So, but yeah, there was contact initially with the driver.
I just want to clarify, the officer that went into surgery last night, we received note that he was in stable condition. Did someone say that he went back into surgery this morning? We're still waiting to hear on his status after that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Where was Dixon's gun? Kind of in his pants, or is that something you can see from the video?
There was a gun recovered location, all that kind of stuff again. We still have interviews to do and all kind of stuff, and I don't want to answer questions for people, you know what I mean? So.
That'll conclude the interviews and the news conference. As we get more information, we will release that. And again, I want to thank all of you for covering the story. And to the community, we appreciate all your support, and we need your help to locate this guy. Thank you.
So you have been listening to a press conference with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office and many other people who are part of this investigation about the search for that suspected shooter that shot at 2 Mifflin Township police officers. We have just learned one officer will be released today, discharged from the hospital, but the other officer went into a second surgery this morning. So to recap again, that shooting happened last night near Mecca Drive and Purdue Avenue. This is in Mifflin Township in the northeastern part of the city. And again, those 2 officers still at the hospital, one expected to be released later today. What you also heard from Chief Deputy Rick Miner with the Sheriff's Office, he said that it was very clear from the body-worn camera video, which they did show at this press conference, that the passenger in that car got out and turned around and deliberately shot at the officer, which is why they have now filed attempted murder charges. They also said that this started as a traffic stop, and in just 4 minutes, that's when things took a violent turn. There is now a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to Dixon's arrest, and that money coming from Crime Stoppers, the other money coming from the Fraternal Order of Police. If you have any information, you're asked to call 614-461-8477. And the Chief Deputy also said they do believe Dixon is getting help from the public, someone in evading capture, and they're saying that they will also prosecute those who assist him. This is, of course, a story developing by the minute. We will, of course, continue to monitor this as it unfolds. For the real-time updates, be sure to get our 10 TV app. Download that for free right there on your phone. Also, 10 TV Plus right there on your television. Turn on some of those push notifications. We'll have live coverage for you about this more coming up on 10 TV News starting at 4 o'clock this afternoon.